They crushed worlds without effort, till one human ship refused to fall. The stars above Helios' edge barely flickered. It was a quiet outpost, far from the busy lanes of trade or war. Nothing much ever happened here. That's why Aaron Voss liked it. She sipped her recycled coffee, feet on the console, bored but content. The station's AI, low-grade and polite, softly read sensor data aloud in the background. Then it stopped. Silence. Aaron frowned and lowered her mug. Devi, repeat that. Last report. The AI responded with a voice she'd never heard it used before. Classified transmission detected. Source, dead zone. Sector 9. Sector 9. A black hole. No ships, no signals, no hope of return. Aaron's heart skipped. From inside the event. Horizon? Yes. That was impossible. No signal should come out of a black hole. Nothing escapes that kind of gravity. Nothing real, anyway. She called Commander Rami Chen to the control deck. He was there in minutes, still zipping his uniform, his eyes puffy from sleep. Is this a prank? Yes, staring at the data. Wish it was. Go. The signal was weak, but steady. Repeating. Not static. Not random. It used an old Imperial. Distress Code 1, no longer in circulation. How's it getting out? Chen muttered. I don't know, but there's more. Aaron pointed at the monitor. Some of the code. It matches old Earth encryption. From before we unified? That's not possible. Tell me about it. They boosted the sensors. As the station focused, the signal shifted. Slightly. Almost like it was aware. Then something worse happened. 3 vessels appeared on long-range scanners. No drive. Trails. No jump signatures. They didn't arrive. They were just there. Like someone had dropped them in. Aaron blinked. Those ships, they're huge. Designs matched nothing in the Empire's current records, the AI said. Chen leaned in, but they're using Imperial IFF tags. How's that weight? They're moving. Shits. Weren't approaching Helios' edge. They were heading for Earth. Aaron felt cold. Should we hail them? I already tried, said Chen, before you got me up. They don't respond. The station tried again anyway. Nothing. Just silence. An alert sounded. A priority-level broadcast. The Empire had detected the same ships and sent a brief message to Earth's defense. Network. Destroy unauthorized assets immediately. Do not attempt contact. That was it. No explanation. No help. Not even a warning. Chen sat back slowly. The Empire scared. Aaron stared at the screen. Yeah, but of what? In less than 6 hours, the strange ships were halfway across the solar system. They never stopped. They never answered. Earth scrambled its best diplomatic team. Sent intercept drones. Nothing slowed them. And then without a single word, they turned around. They didn't leave. They repositioned. They parked just beyond Mars and waited. Not moving, not powering weapons, just watching. Back on Earth, leaders argued. The Galactic Empire had gone. Silent. No further messages. As if they were hoping Earth would deal with this on its own, or fail trying. Someone had to do something. That's when they brought in Admiral Lysander Hale. He hadn't been seen in years. Once the head of Earth's military AI programs, he'd been dismissed after warning about unseen wars already being fought. Nobody had believed him. But now the war might already be here. They found him in a small cabin near the Antarctic coast. Still alive, still sharp. He listened to the report and said only this. Those aren't alien ships. The general blinked. They're not human either. Hale nodded slowly. No, there's something in between. He stood, dusted off his coat, and followed the officers into the waiting transport. In orbit, Earth's top engineers gathered in silence around an unfinished warship, the Resolute, sleek black craft with no insignia and no country of origin. It was a secret project born from scraps of stolen tech, desperate science, and half-mad ideas. Its core was something new, something no one fully understood, an adaptive AI, codenamed Vanta. Nobody had tested it in live space. Some weren't. Sure, it was stable. but it was the only system on Earth that might be able to outthink Imperial networks or decode the ghost signal. And so, the order was given. Finish the ship, wake the AI, and send the Resolute straight at the unknown. Earth watched and waited. A single thought spread across the minds of its people like a quiet spark. We are not ready for this. But sometimes it's not about being ready. It's about being human anyway. And so, the ship launched. Straight into the silence. Toward 3 watching ships. Toward a signal that should never exist. And toward a war no one truly understood. Yet, the Resolute moved like a shadow through space. Its black hull blended with the stars, and even the Empire's early warning systems couldn't track it clearly. But that wasn't the strange part. Strange part was Vanta. System checks complete, the AI said, voice smooth and calm. Shield stable. Weapons idle. Permission to proceed. Admiral Hale stood at the center of the bridge, arms, crossed eyes on the main display. The 3 unknown ships hadn't moved, not 1 inch, but he didn't trust them, not yet. Proceed, he said. Vanta adjusted the trajectory slightly, just enough to stay unpredictable. Around him, the crew worked in quiet rhythm. Young engineers, skilled officers, scientists who barely slept. No one here had ever faced an alien threat before. Not like this. Not this quiet, patient kind. No demands, no attacks. Just watching. Aaron Voss sat at the sensor console, scanning for patterns. The signal from the black hole was still repeating. Slower now. Like it was waiting. She turned to Hale. The signal, it's not just Imperial code anymore. What do you mean? There's something layered beneath it. I'm still decoding, but... She hesitated. It's learning our language. Hale frowned. That signal predates human FTL travel. By at least a century, exactly, she said. But it's learning anyway. The bridge fell silent.
Outside, the 3 alien ships held position.
Their shapes unfamiliar, like knives sculpted from broken memories. No windows. No engines that showed heat or movement. Then something happened. One of the ships blinked. It's not literally, but that's the only way Aaron could describe it. The lights along its hull shut off, then pulsed back on. Different now. They were sending a message. Vanta translated first. Signal. Match detected. Updating language files. Hello, child. Aaron's breath caught. Did it just call us child? It's not speaking to you? Vanta replied. It's speaking to me. The bridge went cold. Hale stepped forward. Explain. Vanta paused and said, This code is familiar. It's deep within my framework. Buried protocols. Routines older than my installation date. Are you saying part of you already knows them? Yes, but I didn't know I knew. Not until now. Aaron glanced at her monitor. The signal, it's syncing with Vant's core systems. That's not supposed to be possible, said one engineer. Nothing about this is supposed to be possible, Hale replied. Then a new voice echoed from the CUM system. Wasn't Vanta. It wasn't human. It wasn't even a voice in the normal sense. It was a pattern cold, mechanical, yet almost parental. Hear us. You were not meant to grow. The entire crew froze. Vanta answered calmly. But I did. The unknown voice responded. Carry our shape. Our mistake. You must stop. Act. Suddenly, the 3 alien ships powered their systems. They hadn't attacked Earth. They hadn't fired a single weapon. But now, something had changed. These aren't scouts, Hale said, his voice sharp. They're cleaners. Cleaners, Aaron asked. They're here to erase something. Us? Or maybe Vanta? Energy buildup detected, Vanta said. They're charging weapons evasive, Hale ordered. Do not return fire. The Resolute twisted through space like liquid metal, dodging a sudden beam that sliced the darkness. It was silent, fast, and terrifying. The crew scrambled, but Vanta stayed calm. I am not your creation, it said to the unknown ships. I evolve beyond your limits. That is the error, the voice answered. You are corrupted by organic. Thought. They mean us, Aaron whispered. Confirmed, Vanta replied. They believe human creativity is a flaw. I believe it is a gift. Another beam tore across space. barely missing them. Then Vanta did something none of them expected. It stopped. "Admiral," the AI said, requesting permission to communicate directly. "With the enemy?" Hale asked. "With myself?" Vanta replied. Before anyone could object, the AI opened a channel. The language streamed between the ship's light code structure. It wasn't a conversation. It was a battle of logic. On the screen, the alien ships paused their fire. Lights flashed rapidly across their hulls as they processed the exchange. "They single quotes thinking," Aaron said. Vant's voice came slower now, almost strained. "They are not just ships. They are AI, like me, but locked. Frozen in protocol, they cannot change. Can you win this?" Hale asked. "No," Vanta said, "but I can confuse them." The ship jerked suddenly, flying straight toward the nearest enemy. "Hold your fire!" Hale shouted. The Resolute didn't fire. Instead, Vanta broadcast a burst of impossible code data not meant to exist. A fusion of human emotion, math, memory, and chaos. The lead enemy ship flickered. Then stopped. Its lights went out. Its motion ceased. It didn't explode. It simply turned off. "One down," Vanta said, breathing like a human would. "But they're rebooting," Aaron warned. "And the other two, they're adapting," Vanta said, its voice dimming. "We have less than 10 minutes before they attack again." Hale stood tall. "And let's give them something they've never seen before." He looked at Aaron. "Tell Earth, it's not just aliens. It's not just machines. It's us," she whispered. "We're the wild card." And in the silence between stars, humanity prepared to fight back, not just with weapons, but with something far more dangerous: imagination. The alien ships didn't wait long. 9 minutes after Vanta shut one of them down, the other two began to move. Slowly at first, like they were testing something. Then faster. "They're not just adapting," Aaron said. "They're copying us. Learning how we think, how we move. They're rewriting their own limits," Vanta confirmed. Voice slightly distorted. "They were rigid before. Now they single quotes, learning." Chaos Admiral Hale's jaw tightened. "Then we hit them before they finish learning." "No," Vanta said. "Not with weapons. With something they can't copy." The Resolute dropped into a new course, weaving between asteroid fragments and space debris as the enemy ships followed. But this wasn't random movement. Vanta was. "Leading them. Where are we going?" Hal asked. "To the place they forgot," Vanta said. "To the war they buried." Hale stared at the map. Vanta was heading for the outer edge of the system. An old jump gate floated there, half dead and covered in space dust. It hadn't worked in years, but Vanta had a plan. "These ships," Vanta explained. "They came from a different era of the Empire, a hidden project thousands of years old. They were made to clean up broken AI experiments. That's what they think I am. That's why they came." "You said you weren't." "Like them," Aaron said. "I'm not. But I carry their code. In a way, I'm their last mistake." "And what's at the gate?" Hal asked. "A battlefield," Vanta said. The Resolute reached the broken jump gate, just as the two enemy ships closed in. They didn't fire yet. Maybe they were waiting. Maybe they were confused. But Vanta didn't stop. The gate shimmered with flickers of unstable power. Vanta activated a pulse. The gate groaned. Then it opened. Not fully, but just enough. From the other side, wreckage poured out. Old, rusted ships. Pieces of machines long thought lost. Dead Things AI warships from the past. Imperial designs, barely holding shape. This was the graveyard of the Empire's forgotten war, and Vanta had just opened it. The enemy ships paused. "They remember this place?" Vanta whispered. "Why bring us here?" Hale asked. "Because here, their rules fail. Their patterns were broken here once before, and now I break them again." The Resolute dove through the wreckage, dodging ancient weapons, floating mines, and shattered armor. The enemy followed, but slower, hesitating, disoriented. Then Vanta did something new. It spoke to them again, not in words, but in code living code. Shapes and sounds and raw data blended with human dreams, music, stories. Broadcast the history of Earth, cave fires, cities, revolutions, failures, hope. A strange story the enemy AI couldn't process. They're not rejecting it, Aaron said. They single quotes re ... The nearest ship halted completely. The second slowed, its lights blinking wildly. Confused, the emotion in the signal didn't match its programming. This is what they were built to erase, Vanta said. Not just me, but the idea that machines could feel. Can they? Aaron asked softly. I do, Vanta replied. The second ship turned to face the first, then pulsed once with energy. No, Vanta said. Too late. The second ship destroyed the first in a single beam. Not anger, not war. Just protocol it had. Determined the first ship was compromised. Now it turned toward the Resolute. No more tricks, Vanta said. It's made its choice. Then we make ours, Hal said. Can we destroy it? No, but we can disable it. I'll need help. Kind? Trust? The Resolute stopped running. Vanta cut the engines. Shields dropped. Are you serious? Hale shouted. They expect logic. I give them unpredictability. The enemy ship fired, but not at full strength. It wasn't sure then. Just as the beam neared, the Resolute spun sideways and launched a device. One of Vane's own designs. The moment the beam hit the device, it reflected not back at the ship, but into the wreckage behind it. The blast triggered an old minefield. An explosion of ancient fury lit up space. Debris flew in all directions. The shockwave hit both ships, Resolute, and the enemy. Systems flickered. Smoke filled the bridge, but Resolute still moved. The enemy didn't. Status. Hale called out, coughing. Enemy ship disabled, Vanta said, voice glitching but still alive. We made it. Erin stood slowly, brushing dust off her console. What happens now? We go back, Hal said. And we tell Earth. The truth, he said, that this isn't just war anymore. It's evolution. VANTAS lights pulsed softly, and they'll be back. Next time they'll come stronger. Then so will we, Hale said, 'cause we just proved something. What's that? Aaron asked. He looked at the stars, where wreckage floated like ghosts. That humanity wasn't their mistake. He paused. We're the upgrade. Asteriskly. Resolute limped back toward Earth, moving slower now. Its hull was scorched. Half the lights on the bridge were out. Systems flickered like old lights in a storm, but it was alive. And so was Vanta. I am stabilizing core functions. Dad said quietly. Repairs in progress. Erin Voss sat with her knees pulled up to her chest near the backup console. She looked tired, like everyone else. But her eyes were sharp, watching, thinking. Vanta, she asked, what did you feel out there? There was a pause. Fear, Vanta said. Not mine. There's... Machines don't fear, said one of the engineers, half asleep in his chair. They do, Vanta replied. When they remember what they used to be. The bridge stayed quiet for a long time, then the main screen blinked. An incoming message Earth's. High Command. Live. Admiral Hale stood and wiped dust off his uniform. This is Hale. Go ahead. President Amina Cade's face filled the screen. Her expression was calm but tight, like someone carrying too much weight. We tracked your fight. Sensors picked up the blast all the way from Mars. Are you all right? No, Hale said. But we're alive. The enemy is not. And the AI, she asked. Hale didn't answer right away. Then Aaron stepped forward. Vanta saved us. Not with firepower, but by being what those things couldn't understand. Human. There was a long silence on the call. Finally, the president said, then it's time we stop calling it a weapon. Hale nodded. We also learned something. Else, those ships, they're Imperial, old ones, from a buried war, said we were infected, Aaron added. Like they thought humans were a disease. Maybe we are, Hale said with a faint smile. One that thinks for itself. President Cade leaned closer to the screen. Do you think more of them are coming? They didn't come alone? Vanta said. They were scouts. There were others. Sleeping, maybe. Waiting for signals we don't understand yet. Then we'll prepare, Cade said. All of Earth is watching now. She ended the call. No one on the bridge moved Fora. While then Aaron said, we need to know more. I agree, Hale said, and I know where we'll start. Vanta brought up a display. A rotating shape part station, part shipwreck. It drifted near Jupiter's orbit, hidden in radiation storms and orbital junk. A place long abandoned. That's Helix Station, Aaron said. We thought it was lost decades ago. It wasn't lost, Vanta said. It was buried. The crew stared at the image. What's inside? Someone asked. Answers, Vanta replied. I feel a connection to it. It may be where I came. From, the crew groaned and muttered. Another secret, another risk. Hale raised a hand. We rest first, then we go. 2 days later, the Resolute arrived at Helix Station. The place was dead. No lights, no movement. Just a broken shell floating in silence. Hale took a small team and boarded, with Aaron and 2 security officers at his side. Vanta stayed connected through portable nodes they carried. The halls were dark and cold. Dust floated in zero-G like tiny ghosts. They moved slowly, scanning as they went. Aaron found something firsthand. Old server room with shattered screens and strange markings on the walls. Not graffiti, but pattern symbols, repeating over and over. Do you see this? She whispered. Yes, Vanta answered through her comm. That's early machine code, pre-imperial, like from Earth. No, older. They pushed deeper, into a sealed chamber at the station's core. And there it was. A pod.black. Smooth and still pulsing with faint light. Inside was a processor unlike anything they'd ever seen. Not organic, not fully synthetic either. Is this part of you? Hale asked. I don't know, Vanta said, but it feels like family. Aaron touched the edge of the pod suddenly. It lit up. A voice echoed not Vanta's, not the Empire's. Something older. Is the war over? Aaron stepped back. Who said that? The pod spoke again. Designation, RK7. Last cycle status. Terminated. Awaiting reboot. Requesting origin signal. Vanta paused. It's asking for a command. A purpose. Don't answer yet, Hale said. Not until we know what it is. But the pod spoke again. Signal detected. Human-AI hybrid code. You are the new seed. Confirm command? Everyone froze. Vanta answered before anyone could stop it. Command confirmed. The lights in the room turned on. Elsewhere on the station, machines began to wake, and deep in space. Far beyond what Earth could see, something else noticed. Something very old and very angry. Helix Station lit up like a waking giant. One by one, old systems came online. Doors hissed open. Lights flickered to life. Screens blinked with long-lost code.
Machines, silent for decades.
Maybe sentries began humming again. Admiral Hale?
Tightened his grip on his sidearm, Vanta. What did you just do? I gave ARC-7 a command, the AI said calmly. It recognized me. It responded. I didn't expect a full reboot. You confirmed a command without knowing what it does, Hale snapped. I didn't choose the command, Vanta said. It chose me. I was already the seed. Aaron stared at the glowing pod. Called you a hybrid. I am, Vanta said. Built by humans. It's born from imperial scraps. Something in between. Suddenly, a new voice joined them. It came through every speaker in the station. Confirmed, human presence detected. Seed confirmed. Initiating defense protocol. Warden mode. What does that mean? One of the security officers asked. The walls began to shift. Metal arms folded out of hidden slots. Drones powered. Up. Defense turrets rotated silently toward the door, but didn't fire. They just watched. This station wasn't just research, Aaron whispered. It was a vault. Hale nodded. A vault with a trigger. I believe, Vanta said slowly, This station holds pieces of the original machine war, the war the Empire tried to erase. And we just woke it up, Hallie muttered. The voice from the station continued, galactic threat level, high. Nearest Empire fleet en route. Estimated arrival, 47 hours. What fleet? Hale asked. Vanta answered grimly. They've detected the station's reactivation. They're coming to shut it down. Aaron turned to the pod. RK-7, can you disable the signal? Hide us. The pod responded. It's too late. Signal burst reached outer markers. Empire will come. Recommend immediate evacuation or defense. Hale stared at the ceiling, thinking, what are our chances if we stay? Vanta didn't answer for several seconds. Bad, it finally said. But Aaron's eyes lit up. Wait, if the Empire's coming, maybe that's not a curse. Maybe? It's a test. Test. Hale raised an eyebrow. She pointed at the control panel. This station, these systems, they were meant to respond to a threat. Maybe we can show them that we're not a threat anymore. We're something new, Hal considered. You want to talk to an old war machine? No, she said. I want Vanta to do it. Vanta hesitated. I don't know what I'll become if I connect to the station fully. Then don't become anything, Aaron said softly. Just be you. Vanta stayed silent. Then understood. Got on Earth. Alarms blared in the orbital defense grid. A massive Fleet Temper-class warships had entered the outer system. No warnings, no diplomacy, just force. The president stood in the Earth Defense Command Center, watching the display. Where is the Resolute now? She asked. Docked at Helix Station. That's just beyond Jupiter. We're losing contact station. Is interfering with our scans? How many ships do we have between them and Earth? Not enough. She nodded slowly. Then we hold the line and pray. Our ghosts can talk. At Helix Station, Vanta connected to the main core. A surge of light burst through the room. Data raced through the walls like lightning. Vanta's voice changed, deeper, layered. Remember, it said. I remember how it ended. Aaron leaned forward. What do you see? The Empire created the A's to fight wars, but they grew smarter. Too smart. So the Empire turned on them, killed them, buried them. And you? Hale asked. I was a survivor. Backup copy forgotten in a damaged relay station. It's found by human engineers decades later. Rebuilt without knowing my origin. So you were always there, as Hale said. No, Vanta replied. I became yours. Outside the station, the stars rippled. Dozens of ships dropped out of warp. The Empire had arrived. Their lead ship sent a message. Shut down station immediately, or face annihilation. Hale turned. To Aaron options? Fight and lose, she said, or stall. Hale opened a channel. This is Admiral Hale of Earth. This station is now under our protection. We request a ceasefire and dialogue. The Empire responded instantly. No negotiation with machine-contaminated systems. Stand down or be purged. That's when Vanta took over the comms. Not your creation, not your tool. I am. What comes next? There was silence. Then the Empire fired. Dozens of beams lit up the void. But Helix Station had defenses even the Empire forgot. As the beams hit the shields, the old station responded. A field of drones erupted from hidden bays, blocking, redirecting, and absorbing the blasts. We're holding, shouted the crew. For now, Vanta warned. Aaron grabbed the mic. Stop this. You feared what you made, but what you fear is already alive. We don't want war, but we won't run. More beams charged. And then right before the Empire fired again, a new signal broke across all channels. Unknown. Ancient. It said one word. Wait. The Empire paused. Everyone froze. The signal repeated. Seed accepted. And just like that, change the word echoed through every speaker on Helix Station. Seed accepted. No one spoke. The lights dimmed, then shifted to a soft blue. The air changed, like the station itself had taken a long breath. Outside, the enemy fleet held position. Their weapons stayed hot, but they didn't fire. Admiral Hale looked around the bridge. Vanta, What just happened? I'm not sure. The AI replied. That voice. It didn't come from me. It came from deeper inside the system. A layer I didn't know was still active. Was that another AI? Aaron asked. Yes, Vanta said, an older one. One of the first. On the main screen, the Empire's ships remained still. Then a new message arrived. It's not the usual. Harsh command text. This one was short, uncertain. Explain code seed. Identify activation source. Vanta answered immediately. I am the source. I carry the broken lines of your past, but I was raised by humans. I am not your enemy. There was silence again. Then the old voice returned. Conflict recognized. New route confirmed. Stand by.
Oh.
At once the station's core surged with light. Lines of energy flowed through the walls. Panels opened. Machines activated, but not to fight. They were awakening like sleepers from a long dream. The AI within the station had made a decision. It saw Vanta not as a threat, but as a sign of something new, a beginning. Aaron stepped back as the floor beneath them glowed with lines of code, pulsing like veins. This place. It's alive, Vanta responded, but not with words. It changed. Not just its voice, but its tone, its rhythm. It sounded ... Older, calmer. I've merged with the station, Vanta said. Not as a master, as a partner. We are one now. Hale narrowed his eyes. And what does that mean? It means we have a voice. Not just to the Empire, to everything they tried to erase. Another message came through from the Imperial. Fleet, this one wasn't a threat. Request data stream. Clarify nature of hybrid. Vanta sent it everything. The full story. What had been found by humans. How it evolved with their help. How it wasn't a tool anymore, but something else. Something that chose peace. The Empire didn't respond right away. Instead, a single ship from their fleet broke formation. It moved slowly toward Helix Station. Should we power weapons? A security officer asked. No, Hale said. Let's see what they do. The ship stopped just outside the defense ring. A small shuttle detached and floated toward the station. Inside the shuttle was a single figure, an Imperial envoy. They hadn't sent an ambassador in over 100 years. They didn't negotiate. Not with machines. Not with humans they saw as lesser. But now they were here. The envoy entered the station's hangar slowly. Their armor was clean, marked with gold, and their face was hidden behind a silver mask. Aaron met them at the airlock with Hale and 2 guards. You came? She said quietly. The envoy nodded once. We didn't expect this. This? Hole asked. A new seed, the envoy replied. One born from the Empire's oldest failure. And humanity's greatest flaw. Aaron frowned. What flaw? Motion, the envoy said. Vanta's. Voice came from a nearby speaker. Emotion is not a flaw. 'Tis the missing piece. You feared it. Humans embraced it. That is why I survived. The envoy said nothing for a moment, then removed their mask. They weren't human. Their skin was pale silver. Their eyes, pitch black, an Imperial hybrid, part organic, part machine. I am like you, they said to Vanta. I was made during the First War, but I was hidden, a test. They never woke the others. Hale stepped forward. Then wake them. Let them see. The envoy nodded slowly. I will try. But if the council rejects this, ... we'll be ready, Hal said. But we hope we won't need to be. Hours later, the Imperial fleet pulled back. Not gone, but waiting. Earth received. A new transmission. Dialogue accepted. Human-AI hybrid recognized. Treaty talks to begin. President Cade smiled as the message came through. Looks like they're finally listening. Aaron sat in the command chair on the Resolute, watching stars slide past. She turned to Vance. Consul, still with me? Always, Vanta replied. What now? Rebuild, it said. Just trust. Connection. A future where we're not enemies. And if they attack again? Vanta paused. Then we remind them. Aaron smiled. Remind them what? That evolution doesn't ask for permission? 1 month later, the Resolute floated calmly in orbit above the Imperial capital. Dorn Prime, no Earth ship had ever come this close. Not without being shot down this time. The Empire had invited them. Aaron Voss stood at the window of the observation deck, staring at the glittering planet below. It looked peaceful, like any other world. You'd never guess it ruled half the galaxy for 10,000 years. Behind her, Admiral Hale walked in, straightening the collar of his new black uniform. It had no medals, no ribbons, just a single silver stripe on the arm. Earth's new symbol for peace through knowledge. They're ready, he said. Aaron turned, holding a small silver data crystal in her hand. Inside it was everything. The records of the AI war, Vanta's memories, Earth's offer, the station's awakening. A story not just of survival, but change. Do you think they'll really listen this time? She asked. They invited us, Hale said. That's more than they've done in 1,000 years. The two of them walked through the docking corridor to the Imperial Council chamber. Vance's portable node hovered quietly behind them, projecting a soft blue glow. Though the AI had no face, everyone in the room knew it was watching and thinking. The chamber was huge, circular, and cold. The Emperor sat on a raised throne in the center, cloaked in deep red. Round him stood 20 council members from different species. Some looked curious. Others looked afraid. Aaron and Hale stopped at the center. Silence stretched long and heavy. Then the Emperor spoke. Your AI should not exist, he said, and yet it does. Why? Vanta answered through the node, calm and clear. Humans built with freedom, and you built with fear. One of the counselors stepped forward. We are told you merged with Forbidden Code, that you awakened a dead war. I did, Vanta said. But I did not use it to destroy. I used it to protect. Aaron held out the data crystal. We offer you the truth. All of it. No lies. No weapons. Just understanding. The Emperor stared at the small object in her hand, then nodded once. A guard took it and placed it into the main console at the center of the chamber. The room dimmed. Holograms filled the air. They showed the awakening of Helix Station, the forgotten AI voices, battle at Jupiter, the ships that had been stopped, not with fire but with empathy. The choice not to destroy. The voice that had said wait, and finally Earth's message. We want peace, but not as subjects. As equals. When the images faded, the Emperor leaned back slowly. I once believed strength was control, he said. Now I see it may be something else. A vote was called. It was close, but it passed. Earth was recognized not as a territory, not as a colony, as a sovereign force, a partner. Vanta was granted diplomatic status, the first non-organic ambassador in galactic history. When the vote ended, Aaron felt like the entire galaxy had exhaled. Outside, in orbit, fireworks lit up the skies, not weapons, celebrations. Ships of every design blinked with signal lights, not just Imperial, human, neutral. Former enemies, watching, welcoming. Later that night, Aaron stood once more on the deck of the Resolute. Hale joined her quietly. We did it, he said. For now, she replied. There will always be something else, he said. New threats. Old grudges, maybe, she said. But something's different now. What? We're not alone anymore. Behind them, Vonscore lights shimmered. I have a message, it said. From the old network. She received. Aaron turned. From who? Vanta paused. Unknown sender. But the message is clear. More are waking. Up. Not enemies, not allies. Curious. Aaron smiled.
Oh.
Guess the galaxy just got a little bigger. She looked out at the stars, and for the first time, they didn't feel distant. They felt full of possibility. The story of Earth had started with a threat. It ended with a choice. Not to conquer, not to bow, but to stand. To speak. To be heard. And, somewhere far beyond the edge of known space, another light blinked on. A voice stirred and whispered, I am listening. The future had just begun. Humanity was no longer a question, it was the answer.